throughout the area hit by the hurricane, we will do what it takes. We will stay as long as it takes to help citizens rebuild their communities and their lives. And all who question the future of the Crescent City need to know there is no way to imagine America without New Orleans, and this great city will rise again.
Good, sincere reading. It was good, sincere reading.
I thought it was a little iffy. I wouldn't have hired him.
You were in Biloxi when you saw that. You were in Mississippi when you saw that.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
You can't go someplace where something this devastating has happened and light it like a Hollywood set. You can't go and not say, we're stopping everything. This is America, for God's sakes. This is America. We were in the tsunami area faster. People, they had all this stuff organized. We had everything organized to go overseas. We couldn't get anybody down there. Nobody went down. Nobody understood. Because you know what the truth is? And I don't think you can use this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It was nigga central.
And you think that really was the reason?
Listen, all that property down there that those poor folks are sitting on, that's gazillion-dollar properties. You get all those people away from there, and you fix the levee so that you can build whatever you need to build down there, then buy that property for 5 cents an acre.
Do you think if the people in the convention center had been predominantly white, the response would have been different?
I hate to say it, because I've never been this kind of person, but yes, I do. I do. This would have never happened in Florida this long. This would have never, honey, if Disneyland had got hit, you think the mouse would be down?
I gotta get on a boat. I don't believe they're coming with a trailer.
You know, I mean, you know, and I don't.
It's time once again for the Katrina reenactment. Everybody brace yourselves.
I don't take away from the folks that have had trouble. I don't take away from them at all, and I don't want it to sound like I'm saying that. But this is years. You know, as it turns out. What you gonna do?
Well, I think what Whoopi said is true, and what it also means is that he and I are going to get audited.
What about her?
Oh, are you kidding? I remember Addison. I hadn't worked for 3.5 years.
Really?
Uh-huh. Thank God for the radio show. You know what I mean?
Really?
We'll talk about it after the show.
You made a joke, right? That's one joke.
I supposedly made a joke.
All right.
And they said I made the joke and wouldn't print it with any.
They wanted you to open up for the Dixie Chicks for 2 years.
Oh, no, they didn't want me either.
Yeah, I know.
Dixie Chicks was like, oh, hell no. You know, when the Dixie Chicks throw you away, that's just not going to work. But yeah, no, it's been an interesting country.
And yet, I mean, there was plenty of blame to go around. You know, Republicans and Democrats, local officials, state officials, federal officials. When you were watching it at home, what was it like watching it at home? And were there images that you guys remember most?
Well, first of all, just the water and the rooftops for miles and miles and miles, and then the scenes outside the Superdome. That poor woman in a wheelchair just dead. Yeah. And nobody around, and nobody seemingly knowing what to do, and chaos, and people on that bridge. Now, I've been on that bridge. That bridge is way up in the air, but there was water right underneath it, and just nobody really know what to do. Now, this is a chaotic thing that happens to us. We weren't prepared. What else are we not going to be prepared for? That's what I kept thinking about, was if this happens, and we sort of had a little bit of warning that the storm was awful, but nobody was doing anything. Nobody was ready for anything. What are we not going to be ready for next? That's what I kept thinking.
It's essentially a backwash situation where you had the storm passed, but then when the levees broke, that was it. I mean, and the levees is, like you said, 15 years in the making, 10 years in the making of Army Corps of Engineers always putting forth, you know, that these need, and they basically eroded from underneath, which is, it was seepage from underneath. Eventually that just deteriorated.
Did it surprise you that politicians didn't act more quickly?
I think they were all caught, like, you know, like you said, blame is the operative word. It was a lot of blame versus a lot of, you know, okay, responsibility is another word. You know, take responsibility, deal with it, lose the people, get in and wade into the problem.
You just played the President Man of the Year. Would you ever want to be a politician?
Never. Never, because of that idea of, you know, the truly great politicians, as we've seen from our history, are people who deal with crisis immediately. They're not caught off guard. They basically make a choice. Remember, Eisenhower wrote a great letter before D-Day saying, if this fails, which it almost did, he would take total responsibility. That's a great deal of courage. That's a man who said, okay, and I just played a wax figure of Teddy Roosevelt, and reading about him, who was put in by industrialists, basically, with McKinley, and they thought they'll put him in as vice president, and he won't do any harm, he'll just be there, we'll use him for his vote. And he was actually a reformer, and the moment McKinley died, he started enacting incredible domestic policy, you know. And you need someone who can make a decision. And in disasters, like you said, they were unprepared for it, but if anybody who's grown up in the South knows it happens every year. And now they're running through, there have been so many hurricanes over the last few years, they're going through our alphabet, and now they're into the Hebrew alphabet. It's Hurricane Gimel, Hurricane Shmel. You know,
Hurricane Shmel.
And so what is it doing? It's blowing gently for a while.
Only Miami.
Only Miami. It only comes in and takes away certain things.
Even if you're caught unprepared, you figure, okay, everybody was living what happened.
They could have a black hurricane too.
But at some point, everything stopped, and the water stopped coming in, and it stopped rising, and that's the point where, for me, it became inexcusable. Because I understand everybody was trying to get their stuff together, everybody's trying to figure out what to do, no one was prepared, okay. But once we saw what needed to happen, that nothing happened. I don't understand. I don't understand what does it take? What do you have to do to get it?
91-year-old Ethel Freeman was brought to the convention center by her son in a wheelchair.
Yes.
She died there. The tragedy of so many of these people who died is that they survived the storm. They didn't survive the recovery. They didn't survive the aftermath of it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll talk more about New Orleans, and we'll talk about Iraq a little bit, and a whole lot more. Stay tuned.
And they kept hitting Bacchus in the head, and Bacchus was getting mad. And so remember Mighty Joe Young when he's backstage and the drunks come and throw bottles at him?
Yes,
and the monkey goes nutty? Well, I was ready to go nutty. I'm in this silly outfit. I don't like silly outfits. I'm getting hit in the head with cans. And I got off the floor and I went, hey, Bacchus is getting pissed.